私は狩人セルテト。砂漠の守護者と呼ばれたテトフ族の末裔だ。
Yo, what's up everyone? Lad here. It's been a hot second. How's it going? There's another traveler being added to the general pool. Sertet. She is a wind hunter of the power faction, hailing from Supra-Delja. With her introduction, she is the start of a new status element, corrosion. It's the same thing as combustion, where the enemy takes a bit of damage and then loses one shield. The good thing about corrosion is that it also sacks for combustion. But with this status element, enemies obviously cannot be broken. She is also the start of the physical resistance down status effect. We firstly seen this with Detraina's ultimate, and it's going to be another status effect that you want to apply to further your damage. Before we get any further, let's go ahead and check her out. Aya Endo is her VA. There's a lot of familiar characters here, but as a casual Genshin Impact enjoyer, nice to see who voices Yelan. Let me know if there's any other characters that you recognize. Anyways, on to her notable damaging skills. First attack is a SP cost of 25. It's a 3-hit random target bow damage attack, potency 55. Her second ability is a SP cost of 51. It's a 2-hit AoE bow damage attack, potency 95, and it inflicts corrosion for 2 turns. Like I said in the beginning, it deals physical damage, and at the end of the turn, the enemy loses 1 shield. Again, it cannot be reduced down to 0. Her third ability is her nuke attack. It's a SP cost of 300, it's a 2-hit AoE bow damage attack, potency of 530, and the potency increases by 1.5 times, and also inflicts 10% physical resistance down if the target has corrosion, and removes corrosion after landing this ability. Her last 2 abilities are her elemental attack. Her fourth ability is a SP cost of 36. It's a 2-hit random target wind elemental damage attack, potency 75, and inflicts corrosion for 2 turns per hit. And lastly, her last ability, it's an SP cost of 42. It's a 2-hit AoE wind elemental damage attack, potency 80, and it inflicts corrosion for 2 turns. For her ultimate, she goes first and deals a 1-hit single target bow physical damage, potency 440 level 1 and 525 level 10. If the enemy is corroded, the potency is doubled, and physical resistance is reduced by 5% at level 1 and 10% at level 10 for 2 turns, and the corrosion status element goes away. For her notable support skills, she doesn't have too many. She has one ability which she's able to increase her crit rate by 50% and her bow damage up for 3 turns. For her passive, the first one, when a corroded enemy is present, she gets a 10% SP regen of her max SP. Her second passive, when an enemy is inflicted with a physical resistance down, the front row gets a 15% attack and bow damage up. And then she has a 10% in wind resistance and 20 in lightning. Looking at her stats, she hits hard as her attack is quite high, and her speed is respectable at 345. Her stats are quite reminiscent of Edelgard's. So the main question, should you pull? The general consensus about pulling for units have almost always been, if they're not part of a limited time banner, it's usually not worth it. And that applies in this case, as she'll be joining the general pool after her banner is over. With her, she'll be able to pair with other combustion users along for corrosion ability, and you'll be able to shave off 2 shields at the end of every turn. But that doesn't justify her being in your team. It's nice to have, but taking a deeper dive into her kit and her main selling point is that she is able to reduce enemies' physical resistance. But for that to happen, you firstly need to apply corrosion, and then use her other attacking ability that applies physical resistance down, also at the cost of eliminating the corrosion debuff. That in turn is her biggest flaw. She is unable to lower enemies' physical resistance for a long duration without having to apply corrosion again. You can think of her as an introductory character to these debuffs and status elements. It's nice to see, but in terms of keeping the physical resistance debuff up for a longer duration, a certain little finger that's coming in the future will be able to do this much more effectively. Now moving away from her main selling point to her massively huge single target attack with a potency of 530. With this ability, we've seen this with Edelgard, and I'm not too impressed. Having pulled Edelgard on day 1 when she was released, the damage is definitely through the roof. However, it's difficult to maintain and reuse due to its high SP cost. By the time you set everything up and get ready to break, and if you forget to manage your SP usage, there's a chance you won't have enough SP to use it, and that's wasted damage potential. The other flaw in this ability regarding Sertet is the fact that it doesn't also hit wind weakness as well. You want to recall that this game is progressively catering towards characters that can hit multiple weakness. Those are again the travelers that you want to be bringing along. Now longevity, in terms of her being used in the future, I don't see it. Perhaps if we're making a hunter only squad, then she might be useful as her second passive gives the entire front row a physical attack up and bow damage up, of course if physical resistance down is present. But other than that, it's difficult to use her in battles where enemies aren't weak to bows or wind. Anywho, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Your third design, 3 out of 5. Her artwork looks kinda plain and her spurt reminds me of Odette. Her VA, 4 out of 5. I enjoy using Yelan in my team in Genshin Impact, and again, it's cool to see who voices her. Abilities, 2 out of 5. Her main selling point is her physical resistance down debuff, and she does a terrible job at maintaining it. Her massive nuke attack is nice to have, but the heavy SP cost comes at a price. Longevity, 2 out of 5. I don't see her being used unless if you're in the Hunter Tower or if you're in need of a character who can inflict corrosion. Global buff, 0 out of 5. She didn't get any. Time limited, nope, 5 out of 5. It's nice to see more general pull units being added. Overall impression, it's a safe skip. Keep on saving rubies. Remember that the 2nd anniversary is coming soon. Until then, keep on hoarding those rubies. This Wednesday, I might do a poll on Sertet's banner as I've been conserving my rubies and haven't been pulling for anything. So if anyone else is also pulling for her, good luck in your polls. Alright, well that was it for Sertet. Take care of yourself like always. Light out.